All right, we're back with the spooky island now. We have, you may be wondering why this shot looks a little bit darker than normal and why we have our Ghost Stories candle here in the middle.
Yeah.
This apparently ties into the allegory of the cave. I'm curious to know why, because the videographer in me hates that we had to reduce our lighting to get this mood. But the poet in me longs to know the metaphors.
Yes, yes.
So talk to me about Allegory of the Cave Cove.
Yes, and it's dark.
Yeah.
Way darker than this.
Yeah.
Right? And I love the fact that we are brave treasure seekers.
Yep.
And Scripture talks about the treasures of darkness. Right?
The treasures of darkness.
Go look that one up. It's fantastic. And the context of it is fantastic as well.
Yeah.
All right, and so we're going to find some really great treasure here. Interestingly, the treasure is going to come in the form of pain. It's the good pain.
Yeah.
And it's a real pain. This is Plato, right, writing this wonderful short story about education and educating the public,
Yep.
right, and how important that is, and then also the pain of education. Because when you don't know that you don't know something, and then you become aware of it, that can be awkward and painful.
Yeah.
Now, if you can have a learner's mind and be really excited about that, that's fantastic. Plato writes about some of the pain of waking up to having missed an understanding of reality, or maybe have believing a lie your whole life.
Yeah.
That's a little more painful.
Yeah, it is.
And so Allegory of the Cave is available pretty much anywhere. It's in the resources that I have and on the website. Read it. It's short and sweet. Read it as a group. I actually like to act it out with my group. Yep.
A little theatrical wing.
Yeah,
there.
we'll darken the whole classroom and put a candle in there and blow it out, and then have the candle in the back of the room and put the shadows on the wall, and then help them understand that, like, this is your reality, seeing those shadows, because you don't know anything else exists.
Yeah.
Right? And then in the story, the person is disabused of their error and they're led out to the light, and they see this whole other reality, this solid, bright reality that exists outside of that cave of shadows.
Yeah.
Now, there's much to teach on this. That's not this video.
Yeah.
Right? But this is where we're going. We're trying to help students get to that place of, this could be painful.
Yeah.
This journey very likely at one point or another be very painful.
Yeah.
This journey could lead you to feeling like you're dying.
Yeah.
Because everything that you have thought to be true is not fully true. And you will have remnants that you will hold on to, because everybody's got something, right? But this is a hard thing to surrender to and to accept. Again, another reason why we want a safe crew, a fellowship that can help those who have to wake up to, I've been wrong.
Yeah.
Right? This is challenging.
Yeah.
Especially for people who have walked in a Christian community for a long time and then have to wake up to something inside of that being off, because the closer they get to Jesus, the more their eyes are cleansed, right? But yes, when you have someone who's an atheist, a Muslim, a Hindu, a Buddhist, accepting, I have part, but I'm now realizing this is only a fragment.
Yeah.
I want that whole truth, but then there is something that's painful to surrender.
Yeah. I feel like that's where we get the phrase ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
Because if I don't know that I don't know it, then nothing's wrong as far as I can tell until someday maybe it falls apart.
Yeah.
But then this is kind of where, Pastor had again, this is where I actually have really grown to love the words of Jesus, that he is the truth. Yeah. If he's the way, the truth, and the life. And if the devil is the accuser or the father of lies, then if I believe something that's wrong, when I discover that, I feel that betrayal, I feel that stupidity, the shame, why didn't I know this sooner, all that kind of thing.
All that's the pain.
But then I think about, okay, well, it was all a lie, so now that I know it, while it's painful to realize it, I get immediately excited
Yes.
of knowing, well, then now I get to discover the truth.
Yes.
Now that I know I was wrong, I can begin again and find the truth, which is Jesus. Like whatever.
Yeah.
If this means that I was wrong, thank God.
Yeah.
Now I can actually have more of an understanding of who Jesus is.
Yes.
His likeness and the person of him. Like I get to look more like him because this was exposed.
Yes.
So painful as it is, I've really kind of grown to love that process.
Yeah.
It took me a little bit of time,
Yeah, right.
I think, to develop an appreciation for it.
Fair enough.
But now it's like, even if someone comes up to me and said, hey, you're way off, you were wrong about all this, I'm like, tell me how.
Yeah.
Like I
Well,
actually
let's talk
invite
about
it.
Let's
yeah.
talk about it.
Because I would actually love to, if you're a person who can help me discover the lies that I'm believing that are causing me to look less like Jesus, please come and tell me where they are so I can get who he is and replace that with something better.
And that's why this is on Faith Island.
Yeah.
And Trustless Tavern is nice and nearby.
Yeah.
It's right tucked underneath there so that we can have these conversations on that island about faith and trust.
Yeah.
And I think it's important here. Jesus does talk about the blind leading the blind. So as a captain, it's important to have gone through the allegory of the cave yourself. It's important to have gone through this process. And Jesus does talk about the eye being the lamp of the body, right? If the light you have is dark, which is such a funky phrase.
Yeah.
But if the light that you're carrying is dark, how great is that darkness? So Jesus is speaking to this, and he's helping the disciples open up their eyes, open up their eyes. A fun connection in Scripture that I like to use to help my students build a bridge directly to Scripture, especially as a pastor or in a youth group or in a Christian school setting. I think this is a really healthy one. In the Old Testament, 2 Kings chapter 6, Elisha, not Sha, right, is being chased down. The Israelites are being chased down by the Arameans, right? And it's important to understand that the passage right before this, an iron axe head floats on the water.
Yeah.
So we're already in a crazy story.
Yeah.
Right? And he's got his TA, right?
Yeah.
His assistant, Gehazi, seeing all of this stuff. Now, one thing to consider, if you're serving Elisha, do you believe in Yahweh? Yes.
Yeah, have to.
Have you seen signs and wonders and miracles? Yes.
You just did.
You just did. So this is someone that's in, and he's right next to the prophet of God. And, the Arameans are trying to get him, and the scriptures say that Elisha is getting all the input, right, and having them move, and the Aramean leader is like, go get him, right? He's like, this is crazy. And so they surround the city. This is a physical, real army. They wake up in the morning. Elisha is fine, right? He's got whatever he's having for breakfast, and he's like, oh, look, an army is surrounding us. And he's fine.
Yeah.
Gehazi gets up, and he gets his big one line of the passage. Oh, my Lord, what shall we do? Right, which that could be interpreted lots of ways, I'm sure.
Yeah. I've quoted that verse many times in my life.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, my Lord. What should I do? Yeah.
And it's so intriguing to me that Elisha says, oh, wait a second. You see this physical, material army. Yeah. And it's real. And you're freaked out, naturally. His worldview is affecting him emotionally in that moment. Elisha does not pray, God, send your army to save us, which could he? Yeah. Sure. He doesn't say, sweep us up in a whirlwind and drop us somewhere else. He doesn't say, smite him with a great smiting. He could pray all those things. He prays this very intriguing prayer, which could be a prayer not only for Allegory, the Cave Cove, but for this whole adventure. Oh, Lord, open his eyes so he can see. Yeah. And this is worldview, view. Open his eyes so he can see. The Lord opens his eyes. Oh, angel army all out there. Yeah. So this spiritual reality that was there the whole time, he just couldn't see. Yep. Having not seen that, it affected him emotionally. Seeing it, it affects him emotionally.
Yeah, right.
That truth brought freedom.
And I love that it wasn't so much, it wasn't that there was a, what's the word I'm looking for? It didn't refuse to acknowledge the objective reality.
Exactly. No, that's the key.
The objective army, they're still there.
they're still trying to
they're
get
not all that's there.
Exactly.
There's something more that's unseen that is actually greater than what we can see here.
Yes.
So it's not diminishing the worldview of the objective world. It's just adding the full picture.
And that's the metaphor that we are sailing into.
Yeah.
Right? Is Christ is the fullness of reality. Elisha was fine.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, an army's coming to get us. That's scary, but not really. Because, hi, Gabriel. How's it going, Michael? Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. You know, it's like, right?
Yeah.
And could that angel army be surrounding this church right now?
Yeah.
Where we are right now. Your
Yeah.
classroom, your church,
Yeah.
your small
home.
group,
Yeah.
wherever. Like, is that a reality in your worldview? We want a Christ-centered, biblical worldview.
Yeah.
Angels are real. They're serving God. They're here to help, right? That's what we're shooting for. But I think it's interesting to note that Gehazi, who's serving Elisha, who already believes in Yahweh and trusts the words of Yahweh, he still needed his eyes open in that moment. It makes me even wonder, when do I pray, please, God, help me by showing up, versus, oh, God, help me open my eyes so I can see what you're already doing.
Yeah.
Even just that.
Wow.
Right?
That's a huge change of perspective there. That's good. Well, I have hope you're a glutton for punishment out there, everybody, because it's time to get deep. Kind of cut some things up that need to get gone. This is where the hammer that breaks is actually a good thing. You know, where it's now that needed to be broken, but the good news is now that same hammer can be used to rebuild.
Yeah, and part of the exit out of here is there's treasure, real treasure, not shadowy treasure.
Yep.
There's real treasure. And there's real truth.
Yeah.
And there's a real way that's worth finding.
Yeah.
I will be glad that I let go of that cave of shadows.
Yeah.
I will be so, as painful as it is,
Yeah.
what I'm being offered is infinitely better.
Yeah. That's good.
And it's right there.
Yeah.
It's right outside the cave door.
Yeah. So that's good. It's an invitation into more.
Yes.
There's hope in it. And it actually, while it may be temporarily painful, everything after that is going to be better for it.
Yep.
So let's go be brave and let's press in.
Let's
I
do
like
it.
it.
Let's go.
Yep.